Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Ken Coburn. I'm a 32-year retired Navy veteran, 3-time past commander here at the Abington American Legion, and a current finance officer. It's my honor to be your Master of Ceremonies today for the Purple Heart ceremony. I invite you to stand, if you are able, for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Troop 41. The national anthem and the invocation will be led by Reverend Dr. Christy Coburn.
Good. Yes. Pledges to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order. Arms.
You may be seated. Will you join with me in prayer? Holy God, we are grateful to be gathered here today to celebrate Abington as a Purple Heart town. While earning a Purple Heart is not in and of itself a celebration for these brave veterans, we are here today to celebrate the freedom, liberty, and love that each of them has shared with us and with their country. Be with us now in our remembering, in our celebrating, and in our honoring. Amen.
At this time, I'd like to introduce Abington's Veteran Services Officer, Adam Gunn, to officially welcome you today.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Welcome. Today, we honor the sacrifices of our Purple Heart recipients and their families. It is both humbling and inspiring to stand here before you today with a community that continues to recognize and honor the cost of freedom. 3 years ago, we took a stand and declared Abington a Purple Heart community. We started to preserve history, to honor veterans in a meaningful way, it's a lasting way, and today we take another step forward in that mission. Today we stand together to do more than simply name ourselves a supporting community, but to go above and beyond and take a step to truly honor those heroes and remember their legacy and their sacrifice. 5 years ago today, we only knew of 5 deceased Purple Heart recipients from Abington. Thanks to tireless efforts from Pete and Janice Walters, who spent 2 years going through over 2,600 veteran records that we had in storage. After identifying Purple Heart recipients, we went from 6 Purple Heart recipients to 36 Purple Heart recipients. After identifying their names, we ordered their military records, and Phil Delaney, standing over here to my right, spent over a year scrubbing their records, pulling all the data, and putting it all onto our website so we can see and learn about their sacrifices and who they were. Now we know the names of 36 Purple Heart recipients and their stories of sacrifice, courage, and service that might never otherwise be lost to time. Today we're proud to unveil a new website on Abington Veteran Services that shares those stories, awards, photographs, and narratives from the family. This archive is available to the public so that these heroes will never be forgotten. If you're a living Purple Heart recipient that joined from Abington, we'd also love to have you apply as well, please. So among these stories, they remind us why we're here today. Carl Bombardier, a United States Army Ranger with the 5th Ranger Infantry Battalion, landed on Omaha Beach during D-Day invasion and was wounded in battle shortly after. For his heroism, Carl received both the Silver Star and Purple Heart. He came home, he lived a quiet life in Abington, and was one of the gentlemen who inspired this project. He was the very first veteran to receive a Purple Heart sign topper placed near his former home on Lincoln Boulevard.
Bill Elwick was a quartermaster in the U.S. Navy, a veteran of World War II, and was wounded on D-Day, for which he received the Purple Heart. When he returned home, Bill settled in Abington and, with his wife Marie, raised 3 boys on Wyman Road. In 2008, he received the Legion of Honor in recognition of his role in liberating France. Bill was still living on Wyman Road at the time of his passing, and he is interred at Mount Vernon Cemetery.
Mel Libby, a World War II United States Army soldier, was wounded in battle on Okinawa and awarded the Purple Heart and Bronze Star. A lifelong Abington resident, Melvin served the town as a park and recreation commissioner and Little League organizer, and his service continued long after he left the battlefield. John Matatois served aboard the USS General Anderson during World War II and was wounded in action. After receiving the Purple Heart, he came back to Abington, lived it as a devoted husband, father, and grandfather. His service was marked not only by valor, but by the love and commitment he brought home. Their names, and all the names we've discovered, will now be seen throughout the town on 36 Purple Heart street sign toppers being installed thanks to DPW and their support, and to the help of Ellen and Phil Delaney, who narrowed down the locations based off the family's requests or based off where they lived when they joined the service. None of this would have been possible without the incredible support. I want to recognize Roger Woods, our chairman, Board of Selectmen. After a single conversation to him and Kevin Donovan last year, Roger secured the full financial backing from local donors in just 45 minutes. That kind of commitment is what makes Abington truly special. I also want to thank Travis Partington and the Abington Community Access Media through the Abington Veteran Muster TV show, which airs every Tuesday at 6 p.m. here in Abington. We've heard numerous Purple Heart stories shared that's available now to the public. Travis has recorded and Abington Cam has archived interviews that will live on for future generations to come. Thank you, Travis, for your work on that. Most importantly, I want to thank the families who are here today, and some of who are hearing their loved ones publicly recognized for the first time in a very long time. Your strength and stories have shaped this project from the beginning, so thank you for your commitment and for being here today. Today is about them, but it's also about you as well. We honor your loss, your resilience, and your sacrifice. On behalf of the town and the Veterans Advisory Council, I thank you for being a part of the ceremonies today, for your support and pride. Together we keep their memories alive.
At this time, I'd like to invite Diane Wilburn from the Abington Post Office forward to make a special presentation to the town of Abington. And I invite Roger Woods, the Chairman, Board of Selectmen, to join her to receive her presentation.
You want the plaque? Right.
My name is Diane. I just wanted to represent this plaque as a gift to Roger Woods from the post office. Abington.
Thank you.
Yep.
I just want everyone to know we'll proudly display this up at Town Hall, so you'll be able to see it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this time, I have the honor of introducing to you combat veteran and Purple Heart recipient, Sergeant Kurt Power. In addition to serving his country, Kurt devotes much of his time in life today to serving his fellow veterans, and we are honored that he calls Abington home. Please welcome to the podium, Sergeant Kurt Power.
We're good to go. Good morning. It's a real honor to be here. It's so exciting to not only be here and celebrating America's combat wounded veterans, but to see so many amazing familiar faces that I grew up around and answered the call to serve their country. Abington's always been a Purple Heart town to me. I grew up on a street named after a fallen American hero who received the Purple Heart, who died in World War II in Okinawa, with a police chief who was a two-time Purple Heart recipient from Vietnam, and with so many amazing heroes, but who comes to mind for sure is going to school with Sergeant Daniel Basilian, Purple Heart recipient from Afghanistan, who we'll very much be thinking of today and honoring his memory. So my name is Kurt Power. I served in Ramadi, Iraq in 2005 and 2006. I fought in the Battle of Ramadi, which was some of the heaviest combat of the war. On October 10th, 2005, I got the side of my chest blown out by a sniper on a reconnaissance mission. I refused my medevac out of country, and I continued to fight for 9 more months. And as heavy as it was in really losing some American heroes, and as heavy as it's been coming home, in the transition home, in the aftermath, I've never, ever, ever regretted not only serving my country, but what we went through overseas. Because, I think it's always been important. And I think a lot of it was how we were brought up here in Abington. Service and sacrifice has always been in our DNA. And this has been a town that has always been unapologetically patriotic. Because in Abington, we always support the troops. And I'm so grateful for that. I've found that as heavy as it's been for a lot of us on the combat wounded side of things, we also acknowledge that there are two sides to being a Purple Heart recipient. We have the combat wounded veteran, but we are also directly linked to the fallen American hero. So I always say, every day above ground is a good day, and we owe it to the heroes that didn't make it to keep pushing and to do what we can to make the world a better place. I think as heavy as it can be for a lot of us that have survived, knowing better men and women than us didn't make it, we do everything we can to not only honor their memory, but to positively show the Purple Heart community in a positive light. I couldn't be any more grateful to be here today. I'm so proud of all of you coming out to honor Abington's Purple Heart recipients. You're all doing an amazing job, and there he is. And I couldn't be more proud of the veteran service officer, who's really went above and beyond, and has done an absolutely incredible job. I just want to say, take today as a reminder to all of us that freedom is not free, but to focus on the positive side of things, because freedom, in the road to freedom, we always say, was paved by Purple Hearts. And we live in the greatest country in the world because brave men and women
fought for our country and continue to do so in a town like Abington generation after generation after generation. I thank you for your time. I'm so thankful and proud of all of you. Thank you for your support of the troops, and God bless America. Thank you.
At this time, I invite Reverend Dr. Christy Coburn to read the names of Abington's Purple Heart recipients, followed by the benediction. Following the benediction, our ceremony will close with God Bless America, sung by our own Travis Partington.
At this time, we are going to share the names of Abington's Purple Heart recipients. If you are a family member of one of our recipients, I invite you to raise your hand or to stand when you hear your loved one's name. So we're going to begin our name reading today by sharing with you the names of those from our town who received their Purple Hearts posthumously because they were killed in action. From World War I, Edgar D. Bascom, Louis V. Dorsey, Robert B. English, John J. Mahoney, Charles E. Murphy, Charles S. Myers. From World War II, Charles H. Bellows Jr., Wendell E. Chamberlain, Lloyd R. Clapp, Roy E. Yelm, Wellington Jameson, John P. Keeley, Clifford R. Kimber, Richard L. McHugh, Harold R. McGeck, Frank O. Warner Jr. Vietnam, Richard A. Fitz, Richard F. Glinowitz, Glenn R. Gordon, Ralph G. Hamlin Jr., Ernest H. Laidler. And from Afghanistan, Daniel M. Basilian. The next group of names are people from our town who received a Purple Heart, survived their injuries, but have since died. Carl E. Bombardier, William E. Brady, Stanley P. Bukowski, Robert F. Carter, John A. Christie, Edward F. Davenport, Howard F. Davenport, John W. Dillon, Walter L. Fitz, Charles A.W. Furbish, Tovia S. Grinowitz, James J. Jacob, Victor F. Lisinski, Melvin Libby, Stanton P. Lilly, John B. Matiosis, Henry L. May, Cecil L. McLean, Robert F. Melville, Chester Mauser, Robert E. Newcomb, William G. Nisby, James J. O'Hare, Russell F. Pierce, Frederick C. Rapson, William G. Robinson, Michael K. P. Smith, Lee N. Stanley, True Tower, William Ulwick, Donald B. Wales, Edgar W. Weinken, Roger J. Walcott, Donald A. Wood, Chester C. Zakarewski, Edward W. Zacharuski, and Francis A. Zacharuski. Finally, I'd like to name and honor the 4 Purple Heart recipients who still reside among us, and I invite each of you to stand when you hear your name. John Beadle, Rick Franey, Jack Murphy, and Kurt Power. A service member who has received a Purple Heart has been physically injured in combat while fighting an enemy. This means living with a scar that marks the remains even after a wound has healed. The scars with which our Purple Heart recipients live may be physical. Maybe there is something visible on the outside of their body, or maybe something on the inside, like a piece of shrapnel or a bullet. But these scars hold more than just a physical reminder of the wound. They are also an emotional reminder of all that the service member has been through in war. They are a spiritual reminder of how the service member's faith helped him or her through a difficult time. And they are a psychological reminder of the pain of war that all of our veterans know too well. And let us not forget that for every service member who has been injured or died from the very wounds that earned them the Purple Heart, the emotional, spiritual, and psychological reminders are also endured by the family, friends, and the community who loves them. So as we go forth today, remembering our Purple Heart veterans, let us also remember the families and the friends who love them, who very much also deserve our love and support. Let us go forth also today in peace, to live lives worthy of the sacrifices made for us. Let us give thanks daily for the brave people we have named here today. And may God bless them and their families and each one of us today and always. Let us join together and say, Amen.
Thank you so much for coming out today. It's always humbling and empowering to see how Abington cares for her veterans, and today is no exception. Thank you. And as always, sing along if you want to. Here we go. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Thank you all so much.
That concludes today's ceremony. Thank you all again for attending today. You're all invited to enjoy cupcakes thanks to Cake Connections and some cheese and crackers thanks to Trukey's while admiring Purple Heart signs in the center of the room. Have a great day.